Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to do a video for you. This is going to be a product review of the wood duck eye rings available from Head Quarters Taxidermy Supply. I believe these are made by Robert Holzhauser. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's who makes them. And as of the filming of this video, which is January 2014, the price on these is $4.50 a pair. Again, available from Head Quarters Taxidermy Supply. These eye rings are great for most what I would call alert pose wood ducks. If you got a sleeping wood duck, or you want to mount it, do a dead mount, these are probably not gonna work for you, just because they're fully open. In that case, I would sculpt my own. But for $4.50. The time savings of having to sculpt an eye ring for an average wood duck that you're going to mount a standing or flying bird, you're gonna be money ahead by using a product like this. By the time you roll out the epoxy and spend the time to sculpt it, and then if you have to go back and paint it, you're going to be losing money if you don't use these. Again, that'll depend on the attitude of your bird and what you're trying to achieve. So what I want to do is kind of show you a little bit how I will use these. What I do to install these is when I get my artificial head, I'll drill out the eye socket with a 1/2-inch drill bit. I'll drill it out oversized, and then I'll fill that with a black epoxy sculpt. And I'll set the eye according to the measurements I took off the carcass. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, I believe I did a video on it before, but if not, I'm sure you can do a little research on TaxiNet and find out the measurements you ought to be taking on these eyes. So what I'll do, like I said, I'll set this eye in a black epoxy and get it to the right depth and right position, and then I'll come back in and put this, push this into the epoxy, and then you could take a little black epoxy and blend that edge out where it fits down onto the head. So when I install them, I'll do that as right before I'm ready to put the head on the bird. That way I can move things around if I need to, if my eyes don't look right, or they're not, they just don't line up properly with the skin or whatever. Again, with these, the finish work is already done. They're painted red. If you're going to compete with this, you'd need to paint that little nicotine membrane in there black. But for a customer bird, I would say 99.9% of your customers would never notice that. But you know, you can spend a minute and paint it if you want. Just use a little small brush and some black paint. One thing when you go to actually mount the bird, what you'll want to do is, let's see here, we got a wood duck. Still kind of wet here, so I'm gonna try to show you. All right, you'll see the this eye ring, when the bird dies, it turns yellow. I'll take some scissors and trim that off as close as I can to the feather line. I don't want to cut into the feather line, but I'll trim it up. That way, as that original eyelid dries and shrinks, it'll pull away if you don't do that. So I'll cut that off with a little pair of cuticle scissors or whatever, mount my bird, and then I'll just tuck my skin into the epoxy that's around that eye. So I guess that's pretty much it as far as how to and you know, review them. Like I said, I really like them. The ones from McKenzie's aren't bad. I like these a little better. They're a little better shape and a little better coloration, a little easier to use, I think, than the McKenzie ones. They don't have a female wood duck, so this mount is going to be it's going to have a hen coming out of a knot hole and a drake standing up on top. So I'll have to sculpt the hen the hen rings after they're dry, and the way I'll do that is I'll just go ahead and mount the bird with these real ones on, let them shrink up, and I'll come back and rebuild them with some epoxy when we're done. If you have any questions about this, feel free to give me a comment, or you can send me an email, and I'll be glad to answer them as best I can. And you know, next time you mount a wood duck, I'd highly recommend you try them out and see if you like them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the video off, and I will, once I've got the bird mounted, I'll take a picture or maybe a quick video and just show you how they look on the mounted bird. Thanks again for watching. Here's a quick shot of the eye ring installed on the head. And as you can see, I just set the eye in black epoxy and then came back and put that in place. I did have to trim a little bit of the plastic so it sit down flush. And I came back with a little black epoxy and kind of blended it. I didn't. I left the front unblended because I don't want a bulge right there. Okay, I'll give you another shot whenever we get the bird mounted. Alright guys, you can see the eye ring on this wood duck where it's been installed. I still need to do a little grooming on the head, obviously, and a little bit of grooming right here, so this little white feathers underneath the eye will disappear. But you can see it looks pretty good on a mount, and it's going to need very little finishing work on that. So like I said, I really like these, and I believe you will too, so give them a try.